This program provides education, not advice. Sponsors pay a fee for endorsements and interviews. See the truthayf.com disclosure page for details.
This is where technology, innovation, and personal finance come together.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman. Brought to you by Global X ETFs, dedicated to providing investors with unexplored intelligent solutions.
It's Monday, May 22nd. Happy Bitcoin Pizza Day. This is an annual commemoration now in its, 14th year, as we all celebrate the first commercial use of Bitcoin. It occurred on May 22nd in 2010. The story goes back that far. Laszlo Hanyecz, he was an early Bitcoin miner. And when you were engaged in Bitcoin mining back then, about every 10 minutes, when you solved one of the cryptographic puzzles that verified data being placed onto the Bitcoin blockchain, you got a blockchain reward, a mining reward of how much? 50 Bitcoins. Now, that sounds like an awful lot. Back then, Bitcoins were worth, zero. I mean, nobody knew what a Bitcoin was worth. The assumption was that they were worth nothing because there was nothing you could ever do with a Bitcoin. Back in 2009, 2010, the general attitude was this was a really interesting computer project, but nobody really understood whether it would ever have any commercial use in the marketplace. And so Laszlo decided to post a note on a digital forum where he and other Bitcoiners were hanging around. And he said on this forum that he was willing to buy 2 large pizzas, paying in Bitcoin, if anybody would deliver the pizzas to him. Well, a couple of days later, on May 22nd, somebody did. They delivered to him 2 large pizzas from Papa John's. Laszlo paid him 10,000 Bitcoins. In other words, Laszlo felt that the 10,000 Bitcoins were worth about $14, the price of the 2 pizzas. Well, that was a fair trade back in 2010, based on the assumed value of Bitcoin at the moment. 10,000 Bitcoins equals $14. Today, those 10,000 Bitcoins are worth about $270 million. That was a pretty good profit for the sale of those 2 pizzas. So now you know why we love to celebrate Bitcoin Pizza Day. And it really makes you wonder, did Laszlo kick himself for giving away 10,000 Bitcoins worth about $270 million? I'm not sure if he does or he doesn't. I haven't asked him. And what happened to the person who received those 10,000 Bitcoins? Did they sell them? Have they held on to them? You have to wonder what all happened next. By the way, Bitcoin miners don't get 50 Bitcoins anymore. The number of Bitcoins that you receive from mining gets cut in half about every 4 years. So Bitcoin miners saw a decline in the number of Bitcoins that they received for their work. It went from 50 to 25 Bitcoins. Then 4 years later, it was cut again to 12.5, and then it was cut again to 6.25. That's where we stand right now. If you're a Bitcoin miner, you receive, for your efforts, 6.25 Bitcoin. Now, if you do the math on that, 6.25 Bitcoin is worth somewhere around $170,000. Pretty good pay, isn't it? By the way, the 6.25 Bitcoin that you currently receive, in 2024, next year, it's going to be cut again from 6.25 to 3.125. Many people argue that this is one of the key reasons that the price of Bitcoin keeps rising exponentially. If the number of Bitcoins that miners gets cut in half every 4 years, they demand a doubling in the value of each one so that their compensation remains the same. Historically, that has always worked since 2010. We see a dramatic increase in the price of Bitcoin following each halving. The theory, if we extrapolate it further, argues that by summer of 25, shortly after the next halving, the price of Bitcoin should be around $150,000. That's a 5x increase from today's price. Will that prove true the way it always has in the past? Well, you know what they say, past performance is no guarantee of future results, and any assertion of the contrary is a federal offense. I don't know if it'll happen. Personally, I'm rather bullish on the subject, but we're going to have to wait and find out. Meantime, if you are interested in adding crypto to your portfolio, I'll give you a couple of ETFs that give you the opportunity to invest in companies that are engaged in the crypto marketplace. One of them is the Global X Blockchain ETF. The symbol is BKCH. This ETF invests in companies that are building the technologies involved in crypto. The second one is the Global X Blockchain and Bitcoin Strategies ETF. Symbol BITS, not only invests in companies, but also invests in futures contracts, which indirectly gives you an exposure to Bitcoin itself. You can learn a lot more about both of these ETFs by visiting globalxetfs.com or talking with your financial advisor. And I also want to remind you, tomorrow, join me for a 1-hour webinar at 2 p.m. Eastern called Crypto and Self-Custody: The Future of Wealth and Asset Management. It's an online virtual event. It's free. The target audience is financial advisors, but you're welcome to watch as well. Simply register at dacfp.com, dacfp.com. The link to Global X ETFs and the link to the webinar is all in today's show notes. See you tomorrow.
The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman is sponsored by Charles Schwab. Schwab's passion for serving clients is more than standard practice. It's part of who they are. With transparent pricing, 24/7 live support, and a satisfaction guarantee, the people at Schwab go the extra mile to help you on your investing journey. They're not just financial people, they're people too. Learn more at schwab.com/whyschwab. That's schwab.com/whyschwab.
The Truth About Your Future is sponsored by Global X ETFs. Listeners of this program enjoy fresh perspectives on the financial topics that matter most, especially the rise of exponential technologies. And right now, there may be no faster-moving tech story than the rise of artificial intelligence. But despite some exciting new developments, like the launch of ChatGPT, we are only beginning to scratch the surface of AI's potential. So, which companies will have staying power? As an investor, it's hard to know, which is why Global X ETFs specializes in thematic investing strategies that harness the potential of numerous companies involved in an emerging trend, all in a single trade. Explore our investment approach along with our latest research on the emergence of AI at globalxetfs.com/insights.
How do advances in science, technology, and medicine translate into investment opportunity? Listen and learn.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.